match goes down.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the ProGameX WoW Arena Tournament for May 2014. My name is Lore. I am here with Super Tease. How's it going, man?
I'm doing wonderful, and I am excited for the PvP hype. I hope you are. We're just at a bit of a delay here. We're waiting here for a couple of team players to be ready to go, so we're not going to be able to start right away, but maybe we can get here and talk a bit about the teams we've got today.
Yeah, totally.
What I'm looking at so far is in Group A, we're going to have Welcome to EU, consisting of Minpoike on that Resto Druid, Walrix on Warlock, and Zeepai on the Elemental Shaman, going up against the team of Say GG. I'm not exactly sure the comp here because it's not labeled. I'm assuming, based on the people that are online...
I believe that Say GG Please is a, I believe that's a Shatter comp.
Shatter, yeah, that's what I'm looking at from the classes online.
Yeah.
The Resto Shaman Shatter. Yeah. So I expect that to be a pretty long first game, but as of right now, we're just waiting for Say GG Please. And if they're unable to show up at this time, we're going to be moving on to Group B, which is going to be Waiting for Dampening, consisting of the RMP, and versus Blind This All, which is a jungle cleave. Waiting for Dampening and Blind This All actually went up in the preliminary tournament in the grand finals. Waiting for Dampening took that pretty convincingly. So it should be interesting to see that rematch.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting match to watch too in those preliminaries. Like, just seeing Jungle Cleave like in a tournament. It was honestly the first Jungle Cleave I'd seen in a while in a tournament, and seeing them do as well as they did, even though obviously they hit Waiting for Dampening and the RMP just won out pretty convincingly, like you just said. It still was a really interesting match to watch. Like, I like seeing it's one of the awesome things about the EU tournaments. You see so many different comps that go up in there, whereas in the NA tournaments, a lot of times it's WND versus LSD versus RMP, etc.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree. I actually is one of the more refreshing things of commentating earlier in the month was seeing a lot of different comps, seeing a lot of people, like a lot more holy priests and holy paladins, not so much resto druids and resto shamans. We're still just waiting here for the Group A teams as well as the Group B teams before we can get moving, sadly. Am I looking at right now for progress? Yeah. Okay.
It's all good though. We got a couple more groups we can talk about here for a second. Obviously, Group C, Helinka plays Lock Shaman. That's Banana Split, Healing Stat, and Shake Milk. They were also in the qualifiers a couple weekends ago and did pretty well there. Obviously, it was Waiting for Dampening that ended up winning the qualifiers, right? But Helinka plays Lock Shaman was were they third place in the qualifiers? Do you remember?
Yes.
Okay.
Third place. Yeah, they were the last team qualifying, but I really liked the way Banana Split played the Paladin, so if any Paladin was going to make it through, I think it would definitely be him. Okay, so I've got a team leader for him.
Okay, and those guys, of course, will be going up against Blue Laguna, which is Laguna, Askitch, and Looney, who were the winners of the previous ProGameX tournament, not the qualifiers, the April tournament. They actually won that one. It was a pretty awesome match to watch, that LSD2. The Boomkin healing just really, really going super well for them. So that was cool. Obviously, yeah. Like the whole team was playing amazingly. I was just really impressed with Eskitch's Boomkin. It was really strong.
No, yeah, you definitely need to play pretty exceptionally well on a Boomkin in this patch. But I remember seeing the grand finals of that game. The first match actually was a cross kill.
Yeah.
That's pretty exciting. So I think, at least in that matchup, I do give the advantage to the LSD2 just because it's a Holy Paladin, but at the same time, Frost Mage and Shadow Priest Burst, it's 100% capable of killing it, but let's see if they can set up and not get overwhelmed with the crowd control. I'm just waiting for one more team leader.
Okay, so we're gonna get these matches starting here very, very soon. Um, Looking at Group D real quick, Haxan Cleve playing the WLS versus Last WMD, which is, I believe, the only WMD in this tournament, so that makes perfect sense. I haven't seen a ton out of these two teams before, so I'm not entirely sure what to expect. Just personally, I haven't seen a ton of matches from these guys. I remember seeing Haxan Cleve a while back, and that was, I mean, they're WLS and they played the comp pretty well, if I remember correctly. I don't believe that I personally have seen Last WMD, anybody on that team play before, so I'm really excited to be able to see what they're up to.
No, yeah. I actually feel like it's been so long since I've seen a WMD play. I mean, we saw Sharpstorm's Warrior Mage Monk, which is I think it's a lot different. It gives it a lot more survivability, so it has a little bit more of an advantage against some things like WLS. But I still think Warrior Mage is completely capable of tunneling a blue. So I have to
Yeah.
see how well they can deal with that if that's what they choose to do.
Yeah, I think the last WMD I actually saw was actually at BlizzCon, which was a while ago now. So, but it's still a decent enough comp, I think. So it'll be interesting to see how well they can pull it off against the WLS.
Yeah. Okay. So I have. That's definitely. I think there's a lot of good games coming up here. I have both team leaders. One of them is ready. Just clarifying if the other one is ready as well. We don't want to start up anything we shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And we can get moving with this PvP. And the first match will end up being Group A, so we'll be seeing the LSD versus the Resto Shaman Shatter play, from what I can understand. So that's definitely an interesting matchup. I think it can go both ways. The Resto Shaman definitely gives a lot more durability to that comp than a Resto Druid against Warlocks, but
Yeah, for sure. The Resto Shaman have actually just sort of come from behind out of nowhere in season 15 and really become super strong. Whereas the Druid was the clear winner before, I think. So it's been interesting to watch as the season has been progressing and watching these different tournaments and such. Really interested to see how this plays out. Interested to get into these games too. I would
yeah.
I want to watch some people kill some people.
That might take some time in this first matchup, but let's see. It depends on how. All right, so say GG please is ready. Welcome EU is ready, so I'm going to be queuing them up.
Perfect.
The first match, of course, is going to be in the Grand Arena. Just give me one moment here to make sure everything goes smoothly. We should be seeing a game shortly. And if we don't see a game shortly, then something's not working.
Generally speaking, with a tournament, if you're not currently watching a match, it's because something's broken. So that's just how it sort of goes sometimes. But we do the best we can and make sure that we can get these games rolling as swiftly as possible, just as soon as everyone's ready to go.
I think someone DC'd.
Oh, gross.
So I'm gonna have to put them back in. This is interesting. Let me make sure they understand that who needs to be a leader. And I'll clarify again because they thought it was a test game.
Right on.
So okay. Okay, so I'm still talking to them. Someone had a disconnect issue, and I'm waiting again for him to let me know if they're ready to go. I'm sorry for starting the hype too soon. I'll have to control myself.
You gotta rein that hype in a bit, man. There's many games ahead. You gotta save some hype for the games.
Don't blow everything here.
Yeah.
Okay. pray to your internet gods that he reconnects, because it's really unfortunate to disconnect, obviously.
Yeah. At least it happened like now and not in the match. So
Yes, definitely
knock
an
on wood.
advantage. I prefer them DCing now
Yeah.
while they have a chance. Okay. So anyway, what were we were talking about WLS versus WMD.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting comp matchup for sure. It's sort of two takes on the same concept. You've got a warrior and then a wizard of some sort, but then and then the healer obviously. But it's with the WLS, there's a lot more sustained damage from the warlock, whereas with the WMD, I think there's a bit stronger burst. And it's like the CC is relatively even. I feel like you get a little bit more out of the warrior's fear in the WMD because it won't like ever DR with what the warlock's doing. But obviously, warlocks just bring so much CC on their own that it's kind of a wash there, I think. So it almost sort of comes down to the healers, the Resto Shaman versus the Resto Druid. And Resto Druids, they can surprise you with their damage when they pop Heart of the Wild, which is why for a long time they were considered one of the strongest healers during dampening. They could pop Heart of the Wild, and they're still one of the strongest healers during dampening. Can pop Heart of the Wild and do a ton of damage while that's active. But more recently, we've seen a lot of people taking to the Resto Shaman during dampening because, at least partially, the way that their mastery works, they can sort of run on fumes for ages as people start to sort of rot down low a bit. But I think against a WMD, it's really, really dangerous to let people sit low and just sort of try to use low mana heals like just a regular healing wave against that, just because they can put out so much burst in such a big hurry. You get caught in a shockwave or something, and the mage gets off a few big ice lances, and all of a sudden you've lost a teammate. So it could be a really interesting match to watch. I expect it to be pretty tense. Probably going to be a longer match once we do actually get to that. That's not, of course, the first match that we're up against here.
Yeah, and
But
speaking
it
of
is
Heart of the
interesting.
Wild, it's going to be interesting to see how Poike chooses to use it, and we are ready to go. So
Sweet.
I'm going to be queuing us up. We can start the PvP. No more annoying nothingness.
All right.
Please work. Cross your fingers. Pick a god and pray. I want this to work. I've queued them up. I don't see it appearing.
All right.
I'm curious if someone isn't party leader or if it's something wrong with my UI. This should work. Everything looks normal. Okay, let's try this again.
So talking a little bit about this matchup we're about to run into, welcome to EU playing LSD. That's going to be Min Poike, Walrix, and Zeepai going up against Say GG Please, who I believe is a Shatterplay comp or a God comp, depending on how you decide to define those, which is Wizardo, Trees, and Rainy. I'm honestly not sure what to make of this matchup. We've seen it a lot, and I've seen it go either way in the past. Obviously, the Shatterplay has the sustain. If I'm sort of guessing here, I don't know exactly what classes these guys are going to be playing yet, but I'm guessing it's a Shatterplay. And with the sustain damage, the damage over time effects from the Shadow Priest, and the burst damage from the Mage, that's pretty strong. But going up against an LSD, I mean, you've got such a crazy amount of burst from the Elemental Shaman. You've got such a crazy amount of sustain from the Affliction Warlock that it can be pretty crazy trying to deal with that. So we'll be really interested to see how that can go once this comes in here.
It should be popping for you.
Yep. Just setting the teams real quick.
It works.
All right, we will be getting into this match in just 1 second here, guys. As soon as it actually lets me join. There we go.
Okay, and to clarify, the LSD is going to be consisting of Minpoike, Zeepai, and Walrix. However, their names on the UI don't necessarily say that, but that's the LSD that's playing against the Resto Shaman Shatter play of Seiji. Wizardo playing that Shadow Priest, Rainy playing on the Frost Mage, and of course Trees on Resto Druid.
Mm-hmm. So it is that that Shatter play that we were expecting. 3, 2, 1. Here we go, running out of the gate. I am following Wizardo at the moment. Looks like he's already starting to take some damage. Just running right out in the middle here and putting some damage out. Going to start opening up on Walrix here, trying to do a little bit of damage. Nothing too crazy just yet. Does get stuck in the Shadow Fury there for a second, but it looks like they're just trying to start out kind of casually here. There's a Cyclone he gets stuck in, and not too much crazy stuff is happening yet, although Jimixo is already having to spend a whole bunch of mana just to be able to keep people alive here.
Yeah, Wizardo, he's been doing a very good job very early on as a Shadow Priest to get fears on cooldown onto Minpoike, and we see the silence onto Zeepai. He's gonna trigger Sham Rage because Minpoike was caught into that clone, but now he's gonna be put into a fear. He's taking quite a bit of damage here. Sham Rage is about to fall off. I think Minpoike is going to be able to keep him alive here. While Rainy, however, he's going to take a lot of damage. He's going to be dipping to around 200,000 health. Trees in a full clone. He's going to trigger that instantly. He's going to try to pick his team up behind this pillar. He's also getting those flash heals from Wizardo. A full clone onto Walrix. There's just a lot of damage here in the opener, but no major cooldowns forced from the God Comp just yet.
Yeah, they did get the Leap of Faith out there, but nothing too crazy. The Leap of Faith is just a nice little way to get him out of line of sight. But other than that, like you say, no major cooldowns just yet. Jimixo now caught in a deep freeze, taking a whole bunch of damage out in the middle of the map here. But he looks like he might be fine trying to get a Hex off. Don't know if that actually went off. I didn't see it land on anybody. He's taking a whole bunch of damage out here. Does get the Iron Bark up on him. And looks like he will stabilize. But that was a little bit scary there for a second.
Yeah, Trees, unfortunately, he's getting feared 4 times. He's going to get swapped to in a bash. He's going to Barkskin, and he's about half HP. I don't really think he's going to get cloned on the Barkskin. Now Rainy's in a lot of trouble here. He's completely alone. He's trying to turtle as well as he can, but he's going to go aggressively. He's got a Deep Freeze onto Zeepai. He's going to Sham Rage that instantly while Doomson's in fear. Doomson into a clone out of that nice cross CC, but at the same time, Rainy's taking a lot of damage. He's under a lot of pressure. He's going to have to pull back here. Trees gets the Tranquility off behind a pillar. Sham Rage is about to fade from Zeepai. We see both teams struggling to kind of recover here from the amount of damage that's being outputted. Trees into the half duration fear there. He's just kind of getting fear spammed, and Wizardo, he's trying to make a move here. He's feathering out, but Tree's taking a lot of random damage here. Going onto Wizardo. He's going to force the Mightiverse. He might just go down. He's going to Ice Block at around 29,000 HP. Doomson into a full Deep Freeze, and full Hex onto Rainy. He's unable to dispel into a fear. Tree's not completely out of the woods. He's going to be coming back here with his Mushroom. Hopefully he'll pick himself back up. He's into his Shadow Fury. Now he's into a full fear. This Druid is really getting controlled quite hard.
Yeah, that was a very tense moment there for a second. It looks like they're trying to recover here real quickly, but it's still scary. Rainey's taking a whole lot of damage out here in the middle, trying to get a Polymorph off. Does manage to get the cast, but it looks like it was broken right away or something. I don't see it anywhere. Walrix now taking a whole bunch of damage, sitting in a Deep Freeze, dropping down to about 300k, but it looks like he should be fine. Does get the silence, and now down to 20k or 200k,
yeah.
but otherwise fine.
Yep. Into a clone and fear. He gets Tremor out of that, but into a half fear. Or, sorry, half clone. A full poly onto Zeepai there. Tree's trying to reposition with that Displacer Beast. He doesn't like where he is. He was being too aggressive at the time. He has no Ice Block and no Earth Stalk, no Trinket. All he has is Barkskin to his name. So Trees is completely a viable target. Zeepai's throwing this Earthquake behind, just trying to harass them while they're kind of recovering back here. Wizardo, though, he's really tapped on mana. He needs to start getting those VTs out. He does get the VTs out onto Zeepai there. Walrus is going to, I believe, Unbound Will out of that full clone. But a full fear landed onto Minpoike. He gets tremored instantly by Zeepai. This Gutcom's just not really able to connect right now as both teams are playing defensively. But as I say that, Wizardo in a full bash in the middle of the map, completely out of mana. He's going to have to disperse, but he gets cloned on the disperse. He's not going to get any mana back from that. He's going to get no benefit, and then he switches the clone over to Trees. Wizardo might just go down 150k HP. He has no major defensives left, and he's going to go down.
Wow, that was intense. And that was actually a scary moment there for Welcome to EU to be able to pull that off the way they did. As you were talking there, I was watching the mana, and the Resto Shaman's mana was dropping dramatically. So that was they had to start getting getting offensive at that point, and they were able to make it happen. Just get the right amount of CC out at the right time, and all of a sudden people die. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Not exactly the way I expected that match to go. Not that quickly, anyways.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
But great first game there.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna be waiting for the map choice from Say GG, please. Yeah, actually, okay, he's ready to have a map choice. Okay, so let's plug these guys in again. We'll be jumping into the second game right away in a moment, as soon as I get their names again. And we'll be jumping into Tolvaron Arena. That's the decision of the Shatterplay. They feel they can get an advantage on this map. Maybe they like open spaces. I don't necessarily give an advantage to either team. Gateway obviously is nice on this map. It's the longest distance you can possibly get on a gate, so obviously they don't think gate's going to be a problem if they're going to be choosing this. I did queue them up. It should be appearing. We're going to just be jumping right in, not wasting any time. Get straight to the PvP. Should be able to jump in here any moment.
Yep, I'm joining in now.
And as I was saying, it's an interesting choice from the Shatterplay. But they're actually not running that Resto Shaman Shatterplay. They're running with a Druid, obviously.
Yeah, that was just a misspeak on my part. But yeah, definitely an interesting set. It's because I see Doomsin, and for whatever reason I think Doomsin, oh, Moonkin. So, but that is of course Min-Poike playing on that character at the moment.
Yeah, and ZPie of course is JMXO, and Walrix is Walrix. Thankfully, Walrix is Walrix.
Yeah.
But we're going to be starting this game very shortly, just waiting for our countdown. Very explosive first match. I felt like the LST was pretty much dominant the entire game. The Shatterplay was being shut down a lot, but the game's going to be starting here in 3, 2, 1. Let's see what they decide to do. Let's see how aggressive they're going to be. ZPie just taking the center of the map. He's going to be getting his Flame Shocks out, generating his Lava Surge procs. Neither team really wanting to cross the center line, or the line of scrimmage in this wizard battle. They're going to be getting their wizard bolts charged up here. Wizardo, he's taking a lot of random damage here from him. He's going to dip to half HP. He's not really in a lot of trouble, of course. Walrix on his mount. He's going to be using that pet. He's going to MCS, and I'd imagine sack it right away. Running with a pet against this team is a bit of a risky thing, but he's going to get... Oh, the Palm Poly was grounded by ZPie. No, he's going to actually Palm Ring. He's going to land the ring. ZPie into a clone here. I'm not sure exactly what Shatterplay is trying to get as a target here. I'd imagine they want to get onto ZPie. But the Demon Soul being thrown out by Walrix, he's going to get his dots rolling. Wizardo taking a lot of damage. Trees into the full Hex and Fear. Rennie dispelling the Hex. There's a lot of damage coming here. ZPie popping a Spirit Walker's Grace. He wants to move while cast those Lava Bursts. He wants to get some damage rolling, but the Shatterplay is doing a good job just playing defensively behind this pillar. ZPie into the Disorient. I'd imagine a clone out of that. A full clone onto ZPie. Walrix is in a bit of trouble. He's in a Deep Freeze. Silence onto Min-Poike. He's going to take a lot of damage, but the Ironbark Cenarian Ward comes out onto Walrix. He should be all right. An MCS out of that. The Devouring Plague is used. Rainy taking a lot of damage as well. It could go either way at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely a very scary moment there for a second, and you can see Say GG Please, they're all dipping a little bit low right now. Wizardo taking a whole ton of damage right there, actually going to drop down to 120k health, but it looks like he will be able to recover from that, no problem. It's starting to even up again here.
Yeah, and you can see Wizardo, he's spamming these Mind Spikes on the Greater Fire Alley. I'd imagine he's generating some sort of resource for doing that. He's going to... Alright, Altar Time, I believe, being blown here by the Mage, but he gets Hexed on it. MCS onto Walrix, Devouring Plague as well. There's no Ironbark and Cenarian Ward available. He could be in trouble here. A Silence onto Min-Poike. He's choosing to blink in. He actually wants to get aggressive here. A Deep Freeze onto Walrix. No CC onto Min-Poike, though. He should be okay. Sorry, ZPie dropping the Healing Tide Totem there for his team. Great awareness by him to drop that. Tree's in a bit of trouble here. He's dipping to about half HP. He's getting swapped to quite hard here. 200k HP. He gets the shield from Wizardo. He should be able to recover from this situation, I'd imagine. Just staying by his pillar inside of his mushroom. There's a lot of passive healing from that, so he's doing a good job moving that mushroom down, moving it around a lot. But Wizardo, he's getting Lava Bursted quite a bit. He's going to have to pillar back here. Walrix doing a good job having almost full dots on the entire Shatterplay here. And Wizardo's just not really able to land any fears. I'd imagine their only chance here. Solar Beam coming out from ZPie, though. Trees into a full clone. Rainy in a lot of trouble here, but Wizardo landing a double fear gets tremored instantly. Sorry, ZPie's going to be popping that stone for him for some damage reduction. He's going to need it. He's MCS. He can't Sham Rage. 200,000 HP. Frozen Orb coming out. Full clone onto Min-Poike. Sham Rage coming out really late. I don't know if it's enough. 200,000 HP. He's going to get topped off as I say that. Holy crap. Doomson into the... sorry, not Doomson. Min'14 into the silence. Shamrage is still up, though, so I think we're going to see a little bit of a stagnant play here as both teams kind of pull back to the pillar and start to recover.
Yeah, that was a huge mushroom heal there onto the shaman. It really topped him off there in a hurry. It was pretty fantastic to watch, and it was a very scary moment for sure. But Min'14 was able to come out of CC just in time and be able to get him top back off again. Now it looks like we got a whole bunch of going on the other side of the pillar over here. There's a nice big fear coming out there, and the root as well. But it looks like, well, Wizardo's actually taking a whole bunch of damage, but he looks like he's fine for the moment. There's the Silence Beam coming out. Ring of Frost as well. But they keep getting in these really tense moments, and then it looks like they're actually totally fine for a second.
Yeah. You can see the Shadowplay rotting pretty hard, but Walrix gets the DP on him. I believe he's going to be okay. Min'14 choosing to innervate. He's going to get his mana back up reasonably early. The triple Howl landed there.
Yeah.
He's going to trigger that instantly into a Shadow Fury stun. He's getting swapped to now. He's taking a lot of damage. A clone onto Wizardo. Trees needs to get out of here. Spark's getting 80,000 HP. The Might of Urstock Force, he still has that Symbiosis Ice Block available, but that's definitely not the situation you want to be continuing to put yourself into. I keep seeing Wizardo here. He keeps trying to feather out, and he just keeps getting lava bursted back. He really needs to start landing some fears on the Min'14, but it's just such a struggle for him to push through the LSD's pressure.
Yeah, and watching the mana at the moment, just a real quick check, Min'14's mana is way ahead of Trees' at the moment right now. He is locked in a deep freeze at the moment, and then into a Cyclone as well, so could see a bunch of damage, but doesn't look like much is going to come out of that. Is a whole bunch of damage onto Zeepai here, but looks like he's probably fine. He does get the Iron Bark up, and did get a couple of heals on himself there for a second, so looking pretty fine. Wizardo's mana is getting really low. Min'14's is just fine. Trees is about half. So I feel like we are going to end up seeing a relatively long game here, but as we saw in the last game, that can just end up and end.
The Ascendant's coming out from Zeepai there. He gets the Ice Block from Rainy. A full poly onto Zeepai, getting swapped over onto Min'14. Zeepai's completely alone, but he does have Shamrage available. That's obviously a very strong defensive cooldown. Howl of Terror landed onto Trees and Wizardo. Wizardo choosing to trinket that. A Hex onto Rainy, overlapped with the Fear. Trees, I'd imagine, is the target of choice here, but a Silence onto Min'14. Zeepai's in a bit of trouble here. He's probably going to have to Shamrage, possibly, maybe. But Trees also in a lot of trouble, defeating about 250,000 HP. He's going to blink back here, try to get some safety back here. Nice Tranquility. That's going to heal Wizardo through the pillar, so he's not going to be able to be risked being crowd control at this time. But now they're kind of repositioning. They're kind of taking this other pillar. They don't want to be playing on top of the gate, so I'd imagine that's why they're playing on this pillar to begin with. But I really feel like this LSD definitely has the pressure, definitely has the lead. Wizardo and Zeepai both actually incredibly low on mana. They're going to have to start Thunderstorming on cooldown or something to fix that. I don't know if that's going to start becoming a problem. But a Shadow Fury, a triple Shadow Fury into a triple Howl of Terror. Beautiful Howl of Terror by Walrix there. But Rainy's going to be spamming that Polymorph, I believe. A Deep Freeze onto Min'14. Let's see if he's going to be able to land the poly off of that. Into a Palm Ring, I believe. Zeepai in a lot of trouble. He's DP'd, he's MCS'd, he can't Shamrage. He's going to get it off at the end of that, but the orb is still up. He's taking a lot of damage. A Hex onto Trees, a Solar Beam onto Rainy to prevent the Dispel. Full Fear onto Trees, Rainy in a lot of trouble. Zeepai in a lot of trouble. The Iron Bark and Scenario Ward is forced. He's trying to get back to his pillar. He thinks he's fine. He's doing a good job staying in his Druid's rest, staying in the Mushroom. That's definitely a good place to be to mitigate any amount of damage that you can.
Yeah, for sure. And as we're seeing here, this is just a very tense moment where all of a sudden someone can take a whole bunch of damage. Trees in a clone. Doesn't look like there's going to be much that comes out of that. But Wizardo's starting to dip a little bit low here. Maybe in a little bit of trouble. His mana is getting incredibly low as well. As you were saying before, both Wizardo and Zeepai's mana has been dipping a lot, and eventually they just run out of the ability to even do any damage. Rainy now is taking some damage here, but doesn't look too scary at the moment. Oh, all of a sudden Zeepai once again taking so much damage. He's got the Iron Bark up. He cannot Shamrage. I don't believe it's up. Yeah, no, it's 20 seconds before Shamrage will come back up. So scary moment there for him. He got caught in the fear as well, but it looks like Min'14 is going to be able to stabilize his team once again.
Yeah, the Demon Soul coming out from Walrix, he's going to start spreading that pressure around. Trees' team realizing this, so they're just going to pull back onto their side of their pillar. Try to regroup and wait for that Demon Soul to go away. You definitely don't want to push in when the other team has cooldowns like that up. Walrix getting put into the clone, but Min'14 getting an amazing drink right now. He's probably full mana. He's in cap form right now. But Zeepai, he's completely out of mana still. He's going to have to play defensively. A Silence onto Min'14. He's going to Stone Form. Zeepai that is. He's going to Stone Form. I don't know what Min'14 Shadow melded there, possibly a full CC, but a Deep Freeze onto Zeepai into a polymorph. He's in a lot of trouble here. Rainy dipping to half HP, Wizardo dipping to about half HP. A full fear on the trees. He has no trinket available. Dispersion and block are available, but they could possibly get globaled here should Zeepai get some good RNG. He's not going to be able to connect to the target that he wants. The Shatterplay doing a good job playing defensively here, just staying on their mushroom, effectively using a lot of that AoE healing. But as I was saying, Minpoike's got full mana now from that drink. Walrick's into a full clone. They're just trying to peel and recover. They need to find a moment of opportunity to push in. If they're not constantly pushing in, there's always going to be a cooldown available. There's always going to be an Iron Bark. There's always going to be a Sham Rage. So they need to go. They need to keep going. A full Hex onto Rainy, though. Wizardo in a lot of trouble. Rainy's going to trinket that. He's going to switch it back onto Zeepai and MCS, Devouring Plague, full poly onto Minpoike. Trinket's available. Shamanistic Ridge really late. Nature's Guardian proccing. He's around half HP now. He's going to Thunderstorm for some mana, drop that Healing Tide Totem. He's not out of the woods yet, though. Sham Rage is about to run out, but he's choosing to just huck those Lava Bursts. I really think he needs to play defensive here. He's at 150,000 HP. Minpoike in a full silence. He's trying to get back here. He drops the Grounding Totem. I think Minpoike is going to be able to pick him up just fine back here, but Trees, as I'm saying that, taking a lot of damage from Walrix. If Zeepai can push out here, he could get something going here on Trees. Wizardo also rotting. Rainy also rotting. They're dipping to about half HP. Trees almost completely out of mana, about 1/3 left of the tank, but a triple Shadow Fury into a triple Half Terror, I believe. No, he's not going to land the Half Terror. Walrix into a poly. Trees popping that Heart of the Wild just for healing. He's trying to sustain. His entire team is rotting. MCS onto Trees. He's going to have to Might of Earthstalk that. Rainy in a lot of trouble. He gets Solar Beamed on by Zeepai. There's a lot of damage on both of them. Full Hallow Terror onto Trees. Trinket's available. He has to trinket that. Block is forced. Wizardo's completely out of mana from throwing so many heals out. They're just struggling to recover at this point. They're all dipping to about 100k HP.
Yeah, this is a very tense moment here as the entire team is just so incredibly low. There's a Cyclone out on Rainy, it looks like an offensive Cyclone, trying to keep him from topping off. Rainy out, dropping incredibly low, and down goes Rainy. And that's gonna be game 2 there for Welcome to EU.
No, yeah, definitely a lot more exciting than I expected. It was interesting to see the Resto Druid play out as opposed to the Resto Shaman that we thought it was. But that's definitely going to give the win is going to go to Welcome to EU, Poike, Walrix, and Zeepai taking that series very convincingly. Say GG not really able to capitalize on the advantages they had. They just couldn't deal with the pressure that was being output.
Yeah, for sure. And just one thing I want to comment on there is just, Minpoike is someone that we've seen in a lot of tournaments before, and he's always done incredibly well, and you can sort of tell when a healer really knows everything that their team is capable of. There was a moment there